The following podcast contains strong language and frank discussions of violence. Listener discretion is advised.
Murder Amongst Friends. Week number 32.
Nope, 33.
33?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, last week. The Jerry Brutos was episode 32.
How are we still doing this?
I don't know.
We should take like the month of December off for Christmas and Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Or as you people pronounce it, Hanukkah.
Although I don't know.
It looks like
Now,
Hanukkah.
The story I'm about to tell makes the fact that I don't know when Hanukkah is this year
How do you not
concerning.
Know? Wait, yeah, because your holidays shift.
Well, it changes based on the Gregorian calendar. It's always the same on the Jewish calendar, but the Jewish calendar is based on the lunar cycle.
You have two calendars that you go by?
I don't, but there is a Jewish calendar based, like I said, on the moon. Mm-hmm. So even though Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur changes every year on the calendar, on the Jewish calendar, it is consistent every year. It's the same.
I remember like when I was a kid in school, one of those always fell on my birthday.
It's usually right around there.
Is it Rosh Hashanah? Or was
they're a week apart from each other. Rosh Hashanah is the new year. Yom Kippur is the holiest one, like the Day of Atonement one. Rosh Hashanah
I was like, I should also get the day off because it's like my birthday.
Yeah. They're usually towards the middle or end of September. Sometimes they even hedge into the beginning of September, which caused some issues. Like, welcome to your first day of school, young Michael. Yeah. I guess you'll be off for the second day and third day of school, and welcome back on the fourth day of school because it's Rosh Hashanah all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Not my choice, obviously. I was kept out of school to go to temple.
Yeah, great, but not.
No, it's
super
not.
Great.
No. So this story, you claim I still have some ground to make up here. So hopefully this does it.
Cheryl and I claim it. Don't just put it on me.
I feel like Cheryl is going to say this story tips the balance in the
your
opposite
favor?
direction.
Okay.
But before we get to that, any updates or any other things you'd like to talk about?
I came across this story on Instagram this morning.
Ironic.
And on an account called A Girl Has No President, which if you don't follow them. And it's about TikTok, which as we all know is a shit company. Now, do I have a TikTok account? Yes, I do. I have a decent amount of followers over there. If you want to follow me, it's just at It's Lola Rock and Rolla. Because I had to change it like 3 times because they kept taking down my account, right? Yeah. For stupid shit. Like maybe I said the F word. Okay.
You said fart.
The other F word.
Oh.
Flickin'.
Fragrance.
Which is, I think, like the Latin, right? Or is that the German word for fuck? Flickin'. Anyway. No, I did I had like a post where I said like the F word or something. They literally took down my entire account, canceled it.
Not just the post, the whole thing.
Oh, the whole thing. Made another account, did a live. In the live, I swore or said I said something someone found offensive. God forbid, clutch your pearls. They reported me, canceled my account, okay? You can't censor me here, bitch. So, created another account where I'm very careful. Okay, about what I post and what I do and say. This account has a decent amount of followers. In fact, they canceled this account. I had to fight with them to reinstate it. I'm like, I said the F word. You've got people out here like Lizzo and everything else in like a thong with her whole ass front and titties out dancing. Good for her. I mean, I don't give a shit. But you leave that up because she's got like millions of followers, so they're making you money.
Right.
And just lowly me with like 16,000 followers, they're like, But here's the story. That was a long way around, the story.
Important background.
But TikTok apparently uses a third-party company, I'm not even going to name them, to moderate. Okay? And what they're doing is they're handing out pamphlets, not even like booklets, full of child porn. in order to train these moderators to identify child porn on the app. Now, here's the problem. If you need to watch child porn and be taught that that is abuse of children in order to recognize it when it comes on the app, you probably shouldn't fucking work there. Number one. Number two, these are uncensored videos and pictures. It's not like the kids are blurred out or their parts are blurred out from what this report is. This is literally just full on. And they're going, here you go. Hey, and it's called their, what was it called? Daily reading or something. It was like
it DRR, daily required reading.
DRR, daily required reading. So you, on a daily basis, you walk into work. This is your job, right? You're going to your job. Hey, Michael, going into my job, got my little lunchbox, whatever, put in the fridge, sit down. And your boss comes over, thwap, throws like a booklet of shit on your desk and goes, here's your DRR, your daily required reading. And you sit there with your morning tea, chamomile, because it's going to be a stressful day, whatever. You open it up, and it's the most horrific things that you could picture in your life, because you need to be trained, Michael, to recognize what that looks like. If you need to have a booklet to tell you what that is, go fuck yourself.
I've never seen a giraffe in person, but if somebody said, be on the lookout for this animal with a really long neck, and then I saw an animal with I'm pretty sure I'd recognize it. Like, I don't need the example to know what I'm looking for.
What if it was a snake?
I mean...
You'd be like, well, technically, it's just a neck with a head on it.
Yeah.
So, but you know what I mean? Like, this is outrageous.
Yeah, there's...
And like, the moderators have literally reported this stuff. Like, this is what they're giving us.
Yeah.
The parents of these children...
Yeah, don't even know.
Right. That they have this, because this is all stuff that had previously been uploaded to TikTok. That they've pulled off, saved, and are now giving you as a reference guide. Do you know what I'm saying? And FBI apparently at this point hasn't like made a comment about it. You know why? Because TikTok makes a fuckload of money, and they're probably not going to do a goddamn fucking thing about it.
Well, and I mean, going back to A Girl Has No President, Trump put it in a precarious position with like it being punitive to go after TikTok for China.
Right.
So now if they try to do something...
I think it's pronounced China.
Yeah. But now if they try to do something with it and do any sort of moderation or fine them for something or make them change their practices, it's going to be looked upon as a political act because Trump made it all political.
Yeah. But here's the thing. One time, so I was friends with like a bunch of different, I don't know these people, just random people. You become friends like on an app as you do. And we came across this one account who someone did a little digging and found that this guy was a convicted pedophile, had been let out of jail. Yeah. And this was like the second day he'd been out of jail or something, right?
Jesus Christ.
On TikTok, you can do these things called duets. Yeah. Where if you post a picture of you like dancing, I can click duet and then I can dance and then it'll go side by side, right? Like a little side by each, right?
Convenient. We
saw a video of a little girl dancing. Maybe she was like 12, 11, whatever. On the flip side, this fucking disgraziat, right, put a filter on it and recorded it in very low light, but you could tell he was touching his parts, let's say, obviously in conjunction in reference to this little girl. So all of us, I'm talking like 100 of us in this group, reported this to TikTok and said, yo, what the fuck is this? Yeah. We all got a message back saying it's been reviewed and does not go against community guidelines. What are you talking about? I'm going to get close to the mic and whisper because if I don't, I'm going to scream. What are you talking about? Yet, I said something like, ha ha ha, these fucking guys. Yeah. And they canceled my account.
Twice. Three times.
Once, twice, three times a lady. Yeah. Okay?
Well, once, twice, three times, you ain't no lady.
Not a lady. Who you calling a lady? But do you see what the fuck is that, dude? And I said about 12 F words at this point. So hey, Jody, cancel my account, Joan. But like,
it's.
What world are we living in right now?
It obviously has nothing to do with you being a woman, that guy being a man. It has nothing to do with probably the majority of the content moderators are men. It probably has there's reasons for all of this. None of them good.
This guy was a convicted pedophile that had been let out of jail. And this was like day 1 or 2. Yeah. His entire account were just duets like that. This fucking psychopath. First of all, why are you out of jail? I'm screaming. I'm screaming. Why are you out of jail? Number 1. Number 2, you decided to. How stupid is this guy? You decided to go on a fucking public platform and do this kind. So you're clearly whacked to shit out of your mind, right? Because why would bro, let me play devil's advocate. You just got out of jail for this.
Yeah.
So you clearly can't control yourself.
No.
You're doing it. This isn't like you went home, you got like a weirdy magazine, hit the mic, and you did your business in private, even though it's disgusting as it is because of what your proclivities are, okay? Right. You went on a public platform. So clearly you can't control yourself. You know what that says to me? You need to be locked up for the rest of your life, pal, forever, until you die in there. And yet it doesn't go against community guidelines. So fuck you, TikTok.
That's why he's emboldened. I mean, there's no consistency. I mean, he got out. So he's not afraid.
He's like, woohoo, party. And then that's the first thing you do is get a ticket. If you got out of jail on any charge, Mike, even like an accidental one, like, oh my God, I let my registration lapse and they were sending me notices and I moved and I didn't get them. And now I had to spend a night in jail, right? Or whatever stupid shit. The next day that you get out, the minute you get out, is your first thought, I should start a social media account.
No. I'm going to put my life back, try to put my life back.
Let's get my life back on track here, you know?
Yeah.
The minor slip up. This isn't even for like a major crime, like against humanity, right? This is like, and your first thought is I should make a TikTok account. You maniac.
It's concerning.
That's all I'm going to say about it because I've had 2 cups of espresso and I just want to warn everyone that I'm too jazzy. I'm very jazzy today and I'm probably going to scream at some point. So just get ready.
Well, this story is very atypical for us.
Okay.
There's not a lot to it in terms of the crime itself, or I should say the terrorist action itself.
Oh boy.
But there's a lot of background. I'm going to educate you a bunch.
Okay.
And this is more to further expand upon some of the things I was saying in the Nikolai Bonner episode.
Okay.
To give more context. So this guy that I'm about to tell you the story of, Nikolai Bonner on this list ranked 4th in the list of criminals who give Jews a bad name.
Oh God. So he's
Bernie Madoff was like 10.
4th worst.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bernie Madoff was like 10.
Who was 1?
This guy that I'm about to tell you
this
about.
Guy's 1?
Yeah. Jack Ruby was like
Jesus?
7th.
Is it Jesus?
This is not Jesus.
Okay.
No. So he's the worst of the worst according to this list here.
Okay, who put out this list though? Was it Jewish people or was it people who are not Jewish and they're like, you know what? Let's make a. I don't know if I like a list when it comes to Jewish people and lists. I have a
Oscar
problem
Schindler
with that.
put together a pretty good one.
I don't know if you. Why are you not offended by this list? I'm kind of like, should we be making lists about Jews?
Schindler's List wasn't so bad.
I mean, that was a good one.
I don't know if the list was written by a Jewish person. Okay. It was not on a typically Jewish site.
Oh boy.
But the research I did was actually from a website called My Jewish Education or MyJewishLearning.com, something like that.
So you concur with these findings?
Oh, I mean, what happened has 2 sides to it. Mm-hmm. There's a very obviously true side, and then there's one that's the official story.
Okay.
But let's jump into it.
Yes.
This is the story of Baruch Goldstein.
Nice, impressive accent there.
This is another Israel story, but the perpetrator was actually born in America. This story takes place in Hebron, which is the 2nd largest city in the West Bank. To explain the West Bank is to get to the heart of the conflict that's been raging in the region since the creation of Israel itself. So, very long story short, the West Bank and this area called Gaza is basically a disputed territory that Israel and Palestine both claim.
Okay. To this day, they're still fighting over it?
Yes. Okay. It is a dangerous place to be.
Okay.
The area is full of suicide bombings and state-sanctioned missile strikes.
Oh, my gosh.
So anytime you see something on the news, Israel launches a missile attack, generally they're launching
that area.
bombs into the West Bank.
Oh, my God. But if they're trying to claim that area, why are they bombing it? Because it's going to be
ethnic cleansing. I mean,
it's going to be a desolate area. What are you going to claim at that point? Just an arid, bombed out piece of land?
It is the desert. But yeah, I mean, this is the whole thing. It's heavily Arab. I'll give you some population breakdowns and stuff.
Can't we all just get along, Mike?
That would help.
Yeah.
Hebron specifically is a Palestinian city, an Arab city, housing at this point. So this is after all of this stuff took place. But today there's around 250,000 Palestinians and 700 Jewish settlers.
Oh, wow.
And those Jewish settlers are mostly concentrated on the outskirts of this city. This is the region and climate that Baruch Goldstein found himself in on the morning of February 25th, 1994. It just so happened to be the morning of the Jewish holiday of Purim, and Goldstein felt like reenacting part of the story himself.
Purim, okay, Purim is...
I'm about to give you a whole explanation of Purim.
Okay, good.
So Purim is basically the holiday... All Jewish holidays can be boiled down to the following glib, pithy phrase. People tried to kill us. We won. Let's eat.
Okay.
That's the general breakdown of all of the Jewish holidays, major and minor, with the exception of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, because those are more introspective.
Okay.
So Purim is the holiday that commemorates another time some leader tried to wipe out the Jews. In this case, the advisor to the king of Persia was trying to put a plan together to kill all of the Jews in the region controlled by the empire, all based on some petty personal shit between him and this one guy named Mordecai.
So they had a spat, and he goes, you know what I'm going to do to get back at this? You said his name's Malachi?
Mordecai.
Yeah. You know what I'm going to do to get back at Mordecai over here? This guy down the fucking street? I'm going to wipe out his entire population of people.
Yep.
That's what I'm going to do. Yep. Because he borrowed my lawnmower and didn't bring it back, and now I'm going to commit genocide to get back at him.
So this advisor...
That sounds reasonable.
He was the vizier to the king. His name was Haman. Okay, and when you tell the story of Purim, anytime anybody says the name Haman, the entire crowd boos and hisses. It's a whole interactive thing.
Okay, yeah, so it's like a Rocky Horror Picture Show for Jewish people for Purim.
Yes.
Purim.
Yes, and it gets even closer to that, as I'll explain more.
Okay.
But basically, Mordecai at one point didn't bow to Haman to respect his position, and that is basically
like the highest
tipping point,
like the highest insult kind of thing.
He's like, you didn't bow to me, I'm wiping out your entire culture.
Holy crap! Okay.
Basically, through some shenanigans, the plot was discovered.
Yeah.
Okay, and Purim actually means, I believe in Old Aramaic, lots, and Haman drew lots out of a hat to pick the day that this massacre was supposed to happen. So that's where Purim comes from.
He made it like a
he just left
like a little game of chance.
So through these shenanigans, Mordecai discovered the plan. He discovered the day that it was supposed to happen. At one point in the past, and this is how Mordecai came into the sphere of Haman in the first place, Mordecai had saved the king's life at an earlier point in the story. And that's how he got the king's ear and was able to say, hey, this plan is going forward, and that's what thwarted the plan, basically. It's a lot more complicated. There's a lot more history to it. That's not the point of this.
Okay.
So Haman didn't like Mordecai, by extension the Jews. He's like, you know what? I'm going to write up an executive order here. We're going to kill him. I'm not going to pick a day. We're going to leave that up to chance so they can't prepare.
we're gonna rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Mordecai figures it out, says, hey, king, that ain't cool.
Yeah.
King's like, you know what? You're right. That ain't cool.
You know what? You saved me, and now I'm going to do you a solid.
However.
Oh, no.
Because of some archaic nonsense, the decree that that Haman wrote announcing the date the extermination was to happen couldn't be repealed.
Why?
Archaic,
Well, the king can do whatever he wants. He's a king.
Archaic nonsense.
What's the point of being a king? Why am I a king if I can't repeal stuff?
Instead, the king allowed Mordecai the ability to write any new decree he wanted.
What?
To like counteract the original one.
Okay.
But he's like, it can't come from me because of who knows why.
Okay.
Mordecai's solution, his decree, was to basically allow for the preemptive strike against people who would then kill Jews based on this other decree.
So he was like, these people are going to kill you. We don't know when.
So if
or no, we know when now.
Yes.
And but instead of me just going, stop it, because I'm the king and I can go cut the shit, or I'm going to throw you in the dungeon, right? Which he should have just did that, but whatever. He said, I'm going to let this other guy write a decree. Just do whatever the fuck you want, because at this point it's anarchy. And apparently I have no control of my people.
Yeah. So if on the appointed date, a Jew perceived a lethal risk to them or their family, they could kill the potential threat.
Okay.
They don't have to be under attack to kill the person.
But if they know that, like, let's say I know that my downstairs neighbor on this date in the future is going to come at me.
Yeah.
I can take him out first without
repercussion. Yeah.
So it's like the purge, kind of.
This eventually led to 500 Persians, including 10 of Haman's sons, all being killed in the city of Shushan.
10 of his sons?
Yeah.
First of all, how many kids does he have?
He's got a lot.
Oof, but 10 of your kids at one time? Can you imagine that? That's like, holy shit. Yeah. So he's pissed.
Yeah. So 500 Persians, inclusive of 10 of Haman's sons, just in Shushan, which is one city in the Persian Empire. But across the entire area of Persia, Jews killed 75,000 people they considered enemies. They weren't fucking around.
I mean, but I'm not mad about it. Is that bad for me to say that I'm not mad about it? Because everybody wants to kill the Jews, but when the Jews turn around and kill people back, now it's a problem? Well, is it going to be a problem now?
You're going to regret that statement when I tell you the rest. When I tell you the modern day story. But the next day, another 300 Persians were killed in Shushan.
Okay.
To celebrate this victory, modern Jews dress up in costumes and serve up these sort of cookie things called Homentashen.
This is still now, today?
Yes, to this day.
Okay.
So in essence, it's Hebrew Halloween. And I'm not joking.
Okay.
You dress up, and it's not dress up as characters from the story. It's, you can show up as a firefighter, an astronaut. It's literally just a costume. Yeah, it's costumes.
Yep.
Candy, these cookies, these Homentashen things.
Yep.
It's a wacky holiday, considering how genocidal the Jews turned momentarily.
Yeah. It's like Rhode Island having VJ Day, which I don't think we have it anymore. I think they did away with that like a couple of years ago. But like victory over Japan, like, yay, let's celebrate the bombing of Pearl Harbor.
The bombing of Nagasaki.
Let's celebrate the bombing of Nagasaki. I told you I was bad at history. Shut up, just because you're smart.
Pearl Harbor is what happened to us.
And then we reciprocated, and that's why we have VJ Day.
Actually, it should be coming up it would have been coming up
It would have been, and we would have like the day off, but Rhode Island was the only state in the whole country that would celebrate. How racist is that?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, my dad got it off for a couple of years when he worked for Citizens Bank corporate.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Let's celebrate the killing of, like, the mass killing of people. It's ridiculous.
The atomic bomb, no less.
Like Columbus Day. What a bullshit holiday that is. And I'm Italian and I don't give a fuck. We should not be celebrating that shit. There, I said it. Yeah. Do not come at my face. I don't care.
So now that you're familiar with the broad strokes of the story, which part do you think Baruch was keen on reenacting?
Oh, no.
Well, I'll give you a hint. It isn't the part where he tells his cousin to marry the king, which is a part I didn't include in the story. But Mordecai also got close to the king because his cousin, Esther, who may or may not have also been his wife initially, when the king needed to marry somebody else after he dealt with his previous queen.
They were like, here.
Yeah, he was like, go do it.
Yeah. And then get me in with the king.
Yeah. So it's
who can't decree anything, so what is the fucking point?
No, it is a wacky story. But so Baruch Goldstein, carrying an assault rifle and wearing his Israel Defense Force reservist uniform, walked into the Muslim prayer hall at the Tomb of the Patriarchs.
Oh, no.
He opened fire into the crowd and killed 29, injuring 125.
No.
He kept firing until the survivors rushed him, overwhelmed him, and beat him to death.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. As they should, I guess. Right? If somebody comes in and they start shooting,
Yeah.
I mean, it's this safety in numbers. This is what I always say in some of these stories. If there's like 12 of you and one gunman, okay, yes, someone's probably going to get shot. But if you all join together as one huge force, you're going to be able to take this guy down pretty quick. Uvalde looking at you.
I was going to say, if you work for the Uvalde police, that's not a bad strategy.
If you work for the Uvalde police, I guess you'll just stand around in the corridors looking at your phone and geeking out to memes while children are getting slaughtered. But hey,
also
that's
sanitizing your hands.
Well, that's a story for another day.
So Goldstein was born in Brooklyn in 1956 and was raised Orthodox, which is, top
tier.
Yeah, top shelf Judaism. He attended Jewish schools, yeshivas, throughout his childhood and eventually the Albert Einstein College of Medicine and became a doctor.
Wow. Okay.
It is
lofty.
It is unclear exactly when Goldstein became radicalized, but he became a member of the Jewish Defense League, the JDL, and an ardent follower of the group's leader, Meir Kahan.
And this is like basically a hate group?
Yes.
Pretty much?
Yes.
Okay.
This is...
the hate group?
Yeah.
Okay.
Goldstein immigrated to Israel, presumably utilizing the law of return as Nikolai Bonner did.
Right.
And served as a doctor in the Israeli army. Once he was completing one tour of service, he settled into a town called Kiryat Arba, a small Jewish settlement that borders Hebron. He continued his work as a physician in his civilian life, but Goldstein joined Meir Kahan's political party called the Kach Party.
So he's a physician.
Yeah.
So he took an oath to do no harm.
Sure did.
But then you're also in this weird culty group that want to murder people.
Yep.
How do you reconcile those two things in your own...
Let's ask all of the physicians who are or were in the KKK.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
That's true.
So he joins his hero's political party called the Kach Party. But they were soon...
The what?
K-A-C-H, so Kach.
The cock party?
Kach.
Cock?
Kach.
Cock.
Nope.
Cock.
So this political party was starting to get some traction, kind of like the Tea Party here, America Party, or whatever nonsense they want to try to do.
Right.
But they were soon not allowed to field candidates for elections because they were banned from running in Israeli elections due to racist and anti-democratic platforms.
Well, yeah. Wait, so they were barred from voting?
From running.
Oh, from being... Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So it's like you have... Yeah, so you have like...
Well, we should probably implement that in America.
Yeah.
But then nobody would be able to run, Mike.
Right.
We'd have no one.
Yeah, it's...
The country would run amok. There'd be no leader. Hey, let's appoint a king who can't decree anything. Jesus Christ. Wait, we already have that in place right now.
I don't know how you run for office on an anti-democratic platform. Like, please elect me so I can do away with elections. Like,
yeah, please elect me so I can just be your fascist leader and then force you into servitude.
I mean...
And everybody's like, yes, I will vote for you. What are you talking about?
Ironically, that strategy worked for Hitler. So, I mean...
Well, that's a big oversight on my part. And I take everything I just said back.
Goldstein's racism was so virulent that while on duty in Lebanon in the 80s, he would refuse to treat non-Jewish patients.
No, you can't do that. You can't do that. You took an oath. Why are you a doctor then?
This was a violation of a direct order, but it seems to have continued without consequence because not only did Goldstein continue the behavior at his practice in Hebron, he would only treat Jewish patients, but he actually received official recognition by the army twice. First, in 1993, he was given a commendation for his medical work, just in general. And secondly, in 1994, he was recommended to be promoted from captain to major.
Come on. I'm surprised that he didn't take patients that he, quote, didn't like
yep.
and treat them
poorly.
Like not give them the right medication, give them the wrong medication. That if they had a heart issue and they gave this medication, maybe they would die from it or something.
Give them a blood thinner or something. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but no, let's promote him because that's 1994 and he was first recognized for this behavior in the 80s.
Yeah,
so he's been doing it for a while.
Jesus Christ.
The story of how the massacre transpired, like everything that happens in Israel, has at least two sides.
Right.
On the morning of February 25th, Goldstein was called up for reserve duty and driven to the Tomb of the Patriarchs in his commanding officer's army jeep. He had assistance in getting through a side entrance to the tomb that was normally locked, and at least 2 grenades were detonated right before the shooting commenced. Survivor testimony, as well as ballistic reports written by the Israeli Defense Force, indicate that there was a second shooter involved.
Was he on the grassy knoll?
Survivors even reported that once they escaped the tomb, they were shot at from an army lookout post that was nearby.
Okay.
So just taking pot shots. The other side of the story comes from the Shamgar Commission of Inquiry, a task force appointed by the government to investigate what happened. The commission was headed by the president of the Israeli Supreme Court, and it concluded that Goldstein acted alone from the planning up through the execution, and he never told anyone about it.
Which is
unlikely.
Hard to believe.
He is literally in a group of people,
Yeah.
a hate group.
Yeah.
And he has this plan. He's not
not going to tell
people.
anybody. Like, he's going to be like, you guys, I came up with this great plan. They're going to be like, oh, hail you, master of the great hate plan. Like, that's just how that shit works. They'll fawn over you. If you're like, oh, you guys want to go kill a bunch of people?
Yeah.
And they're like,
and they,
oh my God, that's the best idea you've ever had.
And they love to talk about it way more than even doing it. So,
they hold entire rallies just to talk about it.
Yeah.
So, unlikely, but is he punished for this?
No, he got beat to death by the people he tried to kill.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. He got beat to death, and his cohorts that he was in like a truck with like his commanding officers and stuff like that. They just fucked off and let him get beat to death?
Yes.
Yeah, they ditched him. Yeah. Okay.
The commission's opinion of events is that
I thought there was like a brotherhood in the military. I thought those were like your brothers.
Yeah.
And leave no man behind and shit like that. And as soon as shit went down, they went, fuck this guy, we're out.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So the commission's opinion of events is that the soldiers that were there, quote, guarding the tomb, because every Palestinian anything is guarded in the West Bank.
Okay.
They knew Goldstein, or at least saw a man in an IDF uniform, and they let him into the Muslim prayer area, even though he shouldn't have been allowed to since he was armed. So they're saying...
You can't take weapons into like a holy place, right?
Right. But they're saying the commission's conclusion...
Unless you're in America.
Well, right.
And in church in Texas or something where everybody's got AK-47s and...
where they expect it
on their
be.
backs, while they're praising the Lord. Okay.
Right.
Sure.
So the commission is saying that it wasn't collusion with the other members. They just didn't stop him because they thought he was just a regular soldier.
But
I don't know.
Well, what's the difference? It doesn't matter who you are. If you've got firearms and things with you, can you even bring like a knife into it?
You're not supposed to wear shoes in there, let alone bring weapons in.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Muslim. Like you have to wash yourself before you go. You have to wash your hands and feet and face right before you go in. Is that the same? Do you do the same thing?
Well, I don't know if you have to do that every time to pray. You'd have to take your shoes off to pray every time. Like
when you go into like a mosque or something, aren't you supposed to do that?
I think you are supposed to clean yourself for not the daily prayer that happens like 5 times a day,
but like
in Islam. But I think like the main like services and stuff. I think you have to prepare yourself for it.
But do Jews do
There's
that too?
similar stuff. There's hand washing, no shoe removal, but that's very rare for Jews to
But you shouldn't carry any type of weapons and stuff like that.
Definitely
Okay.
not.
Okay.
The commission stated that the Israeli security services failed to prevent the massacre due to poor coordination between the IDF, the police, and Hebron's civil administration, understaffing at the site, and faulty security equipment, including metal detectors and closed-circuit TV. Not a conspiracy.
So everything went right for this guy to walk in. Well, not everything. He got beat to death. But his plan was... So you're going to tell me he didn't talk about this to anybody and that these other people didn't somehow get to these people and go, hey, knock out the security camera. Let's everybody's got the flu today. We've all got a bout of diarrhea, so we're going to have to stay home. Right? It just all fell into place coincidentally.
Well, even more coincidentally. Additionally, they claimed that there was no previous chatter that they could have intercepted that would have alerted them to an attack on Muslims that day.
No way.
However, they did happen to have security services on high alert in the area after they got warnings of a planned attack by Hamas on Jews in the Hebron area.
Well, come on.
And therein lies your trigger for Goldstein's Purim explanation. He thought Hamas was about to attack.
Right.
And the whole point of the Purim is hit them before they hit you.
Yeah. So
if you're an extremist, fundamentalist of any religion, you can find your justification, and it happens to be that day. So there he goes. The commission uncovered no evidence of a second shooter, grenade use, or collaboration by IDF soldiers, and dismissed reports to this effect as unreliable, aka only the Palestinians were saying that stuff was happening.
Yeah, how could he have pulled everything off just on his own? There's no chance. There's no chance.
Right. But that was
even me, who's a dreamer, even I, who dreams all day and basically walks around like as if I'm in a movie and I'm just a dreamer. Even I know unrealistic. That's unrealistic.
You're like the dreamer who dreams.
I am a dreamer.
And if anybody got that Twin Peaks reference, we can be best friends now. The Israeli government and the country's chief...
Whoa. Back up. What did you just say? What did you just
That took you a long time.
What did you just fucking say?
That took you a while to get there.
Are you soliciting?
We are like the dreamer who dreams.
Are you soliciting alternate best friends on this podcast right now? Is that what you're doing? Is that what you just said? Is that what... Look, Luben, look to me in my eyeball. Is that what you just said?
Nope.
You lying sack of shit. You little shit.
You sound crazy right now.
Don't gaslight me, motherfucker. I heard what you said.
Yes, if you get a
you're not.
Get the Twin Peaks reference.
I don't care who gets the Twin Peaks reference. They're not being your best friend.
Okay.
That's final.
Okay.
I've decreed it.
Okay.
I'm the queen of this goddamn podcast, and I decreed it.
We'll roll the tape back.
Yeah, play it back, because I know what you said. I know what you said.
We'll record over that part.
Yeah, cut that. Yeah.
The Israeli government... I'm telling this story for your benefit, thank you.
You're soliciting other best friends in front of my face.
That wouldn't ask me to tell this story. The Israeli government and the country's chief rabbis condemned the attack. Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin announced to the Knesset, which is the Congress basically, quote, "We say to this horrible man and those like him, you are a shame on Zionism and an embarrassment to Judaism. The cabinet decided to pay compensation to Goldstein's victims and enacted a series of measures designed to neutralize extremist elements among the Jewish population of the West Bank. What those were and how effective they were, not very."
Okay. And they're like, and here's what we're going to do to tamp down this terrorism. We're going to kill them all. Like, what?
This is administrative detention orders against individuals deemed to present a threat to public security.
Okay.
Which apparently wouldn't have happened to Goldstein because he didn't tell anybody. So how would that have worked?
Right.
The disarming of people suspected of using their weapons for purposes other than self-defense. Again,
so
he didn't tell anybody, so why would they have taken his weapon away? He was in the reserves, so he was given the weapon by the government.
Right.
And
in fact, you have to carry your weapon, I would imagine. If you're working with the military and something, you can't not have your weapon.
Right.
So...
And the outlawing of the two extremist organizations, the Kach Party and the Kahen Chai.
Okay.
Which is basically seemingly like a cult to this Meir Kahen fellow, which unbelievable. The separation between the Jewish and Palestinian people in Hebron was now a legal policy. Checkpoints were set up, and the Palestinian population was put under a curfew, even though they outnumbered the Jewish population at the time by more than 200 to 1. But they were the ones that needed to change their behavior because of Goldstein.
Right.
So just to, they're the majority.
Wacky.
Yeah. After the attack, riots broke out across the West Bank and Gaza. As I said before, but I'll remind you, they're both contested land areas on the west side of Israel. The riots claimed additional lives, 26 Palestinians and 9 Israelis. Rioting spread into Jerusalem, with rocks being thrown at police, Jewish worshippers being attacked as they tried to access and pray at the Western Wall.
Oh my God.
And the police then firing rubber bullets and tear gas into the crowd to subdue them. Hamas...
Why are you shooting people that are trying to pray?
Hamas, the PLO, and other groups launched several retaliatory attacks against Israeli civilians because... You hit us, we hit you. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And that is the story of Israel. One side is going to have to stop. One side is going to have the last word here. And it's never going to happen. The Israeli left and human rights organizations were concerned by the treatment that the Palestinian majority faced in Hebron. In the month, just 1 month after the massacre, the IDF killed 13 civilians, and that number doubled over the next 18 months to 27. Israel routinely demolishes the homes of suicide bombers. Additionally, Palestinian murderers are denied the right to be buried in the presence of their families, and even the funerals of Palestinian victims of terror are closely controlled by the security forces to prevent incitement and rioting.
So
they're living, it's an apartheid state. They're living in...
You're killing your own people. Like,
Yeah.
they're killing their own people, so they're going to end up wiping out. Eventually, if this just keeps going on and on forever,
Right.
infinitely,
Right.
at some point,
There's nothing
you're going
left.
to wipe out your race of
Right.
people.
Right. Mutually assured destruction is a very real thing.
Like, how can you... Please, and I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm really just asking a question here. If the Jews hate Hitler for what he did, trying to wipe out their entire race of people, why are they then mimicking wiping out your own race of people?
Right.
What is the fucking sense in that? Am I being... I'm not...
No.
And
No.
please forgive me if I'm being, like, offensive. It's not my intention.
No.
But it doesn't make sense to me, right?
Right. It's... They think their justification is more valid.
Well, but you're still
because
killing
they're being attacked.
Okay,
They've been
but you're still
persecuted
killing
for
your own
5,000 years.
people.
Right. All of these things happen as a response to Palestinian perpetrators and victims. You know, they knock down the houses of perpetrators. They put security forces in the army at the funerals of victims. Like, the Palestinians don't have their own lives. They're not living their own lives.
Is there also no sort of... you said they're knocking down houses and doing all this. What about the women and children?
Oh, yeah, they get displaced. If your husband was a suicide bomber...
Like, are they also killing women and children?
No, they're just saying, we don't care what happens to you. We're knocking down this house because I don't want it to be like a place of pilgrimage if people look at them as martyrs or whatever.
Yeah.
They don't care what happens to the family. They just say, you got to get out of here, and they knock the house down.
What if they're bombing areas and they are killing elders and women and children? Are they just like, collateral damage?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Collateral damage is a very real thing in Israel. They just, I mean, the 27 people, that was killed by the army. Those are all just civilians killed by the army in that one town.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Over the course of 18 months.
Okay.
So it's as outraged as we get at police brutality here, it's the same thing over there.
Right. Okay.
All racially motivated, all like...
Okay. Thank you for explaining that.
However, Goldstein's funeral was held in Jerusalem and more than 1,000 people attended. He was eulogized by well-known rabbis and community leaders.
Well, how can they let him be held up like a martyr if they're taking down these other people's houses and don't want them to be considered like heroes of... How is that?
The same reason they think their genocide is different.
Is fine. Okay.
Right. When his coffin was brought to the Jewish settlement bordering Hebron, he received a second round of eulogies, including
It's a
one...
murderer.
Yeah, including one by Rabbi Dov Lior, who some years previously had infamously called for Arab prisoners to be used in medical experiments.
No, like Mengele did, right?
Exactly.
Oh,
like
no.
happened to the Jews in World War II.
I'm outraged. I'm not even Well, I'm
Right.
Jewish, but like I'm not even Jewish,
Right.
and I'm outraged.
It's outrageous. Lior said of Goldstein, quote,
Oh my God.
"He was full of love for fellow human beings."
No, what? What?
He dedicated...
He's promoting the mass genocide of... He's full of love.
He was full of love for fellow human beings. He dedicated himself to helping others.
No, the fuck he didn't.
Correct.
He dedicated himself to helping certain people.
Right. And even within
And
that
murdering
subset,
the rest.
and even within that subset, only certain people of that subset.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have treated me. If I went to him as my doctor, he wouldn't have treated me because I'm not Jewish enough for him. So,
oh my God.
Israeli Daily, I mean, I could say the name of this newspaper, but...
Israeli Daily. That's cute. I like
Israeli
that.
Daily Yediot Aharonot reported that as they waited for the arrival of the coffin, people in the crowd were heard to comment, and these are all quotes, "What a hero,
No.
a righteous person, and he did it
A
on behalf...
righteous motherfucker, maybe.
And he did it on behalf of all of us."
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
No,
he did it on behalf of a tiny sect of people.
I mean...
This is nuts. This is a cult. This is a crazy culty shit. This is
I mean,
brainwashing.
this is
crazy.
This is the same sort of, the people that showed up to this are the people that like showed up to the Tiki friggin' Virginia rally saying Jews will not replace us, or you will not replace us, whatever the fuck they were saying.
Nobody's trying to replace anybody. Let's cut the fucking shit.
Nobody wants to.
Nobody wants to. Nobody wants to be you people. Not you people Jews. Whoa. I didn't mean you people Jews.
Right.
I meant you hateful people. Right. That's what I meant. Right. So let's clear that up right away before I start getting a shitload of emails to mafpodcastshow@gmail.com.
The government did stop at allowing Goldstein to be buried in the Jewish cemetery in Hebron. So instead, he was buried in the Meyer Kahane Memorial Park, which, why was there a park dedicated to a person who was too extreme to be in politics?
Why does he have a park? Why does he have a park? Did Germany have a Hitler park? I mean, does Pol Pot have a park somewhere?
He did.
No, he didn't.
When he was alive. Well, I mean, those were just killing fields, but...
Okay, but there wasn't like look at this beautiful swing set in the shady area to come enjoy. Maybe have a picnic with your family. Like
No. A plaque near the grave reads, quote, "To the holy Baruch Goldstein, who gave his life for the Jewish people, the Torah, and the land of Israel."
Isn't that like blasphemy, though? I would consider that blasphemous, no? I'm not super religious, I think we all know. However, I do respect most other religions except for these crazy extreme beliefs, but wouldn't that be considered like blasphemy almost?
Well, if they're saying the act itself was righteous,
but
then all of these justifications
I mean, isn't the
government?
The government said you're too extreme to be in politics, and we all have agreed now. Like the majority of people are like, you are too extreme.
Yeah.
Why can they allow that? They couldn't just sanction that to be taken. To get
I don't
rid
know.
Of that,
I don't know what public land trust.
Or maybe
is
it was like
Israel.
belonged to. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because public land takes on a whole new meaning
because
when
that's
everything
also
is so
just promoting
disputed.
this sort of behavior for
Right.
other. Look, we made him a hero,
right?
And now young people that are impressionable are going to look at it and go, "I should be doing what this guy was doing because look at him, he's a hero."
Yeah. And they're knocking down Palestinian houses of suicide bombers because they're worried about the martyr effect, and they're turning around making their own martyrs.
Yeah, well, this is very hypocritical.
The grave became a site of pilgrimage for the extreme right, and on these
people travel there from all over the world to.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And on the 6th anniversary of the massacre, supporters gathered at the memorial dressed in lab coats, false beards, and carrying guns.
Whoa, because he was a doctor?
Yeah, and it was Purim, so he dressed up in costume.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but that sounds fucking ridiculous. Am I crazy?
You are not crazy.
Okay, all right.
That is crazy.
That is crazy. Okay.
In 2000, more than 10,000 people had visited the site. The Supreme Court ordered the shrine-like landscape prayer area surrounding the grave to be removed.
Why not just remove the shrine?
Well, I think that was included in it. I don't think they could disinter his body, but they could say, like, stop making this like
take the plaque off, just leave it like an unnamed I mean, not that people would know who he was.
The court's decision was implemented by hundreds of policemen after an hours-long battle with right-wing extremists at the graveside.
So they're fighting there.
Yes, to keep the statue up
at
basically
what they believe is hallowed ground.
Yeah.
But they're committing more egregious crimes on the hallowed ground, which should be also like I don't call it a sin, but like a sin, right? You can't commit
You're
egregious
erasing history
acts on hallowed ground, or what was considered hallowed ground.
Yeah, you're erasing our history. You can't take down these monuments. Sound familiar?
Yes.
There were some Jews in the public eye that did. It's
like the
speak
Jewish
out.
Confederacy over there.
I mean, there's.
Do they drive around in opened Jeeps with flags? Just like, I'll tell you what. There's a guy who drives around this neighborhood in a truck, like a big Jeep truck, whatever those. I'm not good with cars, whatever. With like a Confederate flag on one side, and I'm not talking like a little flag like you'd wave at like a football game. Yay, you know. I'm talking like a full size ass flag that you would put on a flagpole, like on a state building or something. Confederate on one side, American flag on the other side. And
I don't...
every time I see this guy drive around, I want to slash his fucking tires and wait for him to go into like a store and just like slice the flag parts off these stupid flagpoles. It's like, I don't want to see your bullshit, guy. And get a fucking grip. Like,
yeah, first of all, you're in Rhode Island.
That's
number one.
You're in the North. You're in the North.
Number two, those flags are in direct opposition to each other.
But
one cannot exist with the other.
Do you understand?
That's how stupid they are.
Okay, I was going to say, do you understand the fucking mentality of these people?
You can't admire the Confederacy and believe in America. They were diametrically opposed.
Yeah.
Fucking idiots.
Yeah.
All right. There were some Jews in the public eye that did speak out. A very prominent rabbi for a moderate religious movement wrote that Goldstein had, quote, stained the Jewish people and the Torah with innocent blood.
Yeah.
Beyond the moral and religious baseness of killing innocents while they knelt in prayer before the creator of the world, this terrible murder has brought about the desecration of God's name in the eye of the entire world.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yes. I could stand behind that statement.
Jonathan Sacks, the chief rabbi of Great Britain, also said, quote, such an act is an obscenity and a travesty of Jewish values. That it should have been perpetrated against worshippers in a house of prayer at a holy time makes it a blasphemy as well.
Thank you. Okay, yes.
It takes the Brits to finally. Violence is evil. Violence committed in the name of God is doubly evil.
Oh.
Violence against those engaged in worshiping God is unspeakably evil. Mm-hmm. So hopefully now you feel the balance has been restored. Although, as I said before, I feel it's leaning a little more in my direction now.
Yeah.
But that was the story of Baruch Goldstein, Purim, and the West Bank.
That's terrible. That's terrible. I feel terrible. I keep saying terrible.
You're welcome.
But that's
what you asked for.
I didn't. Okay, I didn't ask for mass genocide to occur.
Yes.
But
if I was ever going to adequately make you feel like I have put forth an effort,
the balance has been redressed.
Yeah.
Everyone, listen, Joan, write this down. Michael has now redressed the balance. Yay, Michael.
So I had to find a list that had this guy as the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
In terms of...
He is fucking terrible, huh? What a shitbag. What a shitbag.
Worse than Jack Ruby. Worse than Madoff on this list.
Mm-hmm.
Worse than Nikolai Bonner on this list. So there's your story. There's a lot of... unnecessary history.
There's your freaking story, Joanne. I hope you're happy that another mass genocide of my people has occurred based on what you asked for. No, I didn't ask for that. I just asked for you to maybe redress the balance a little bit, and you went crazy ham sandwich. So that's on you.
Because I tried, and I told a story.
You did try. I applaud your effort.
It apparently wasn't enough. So if what you do isn't enough, you go extreme.
Yeah, well, hey, so I better watch out, because if you're going extreme, I may be in grave danger.
Yeah.
Is there any other kind of danger besides grave danger? I mean,
no,
not really.
And if there is, I can't think of it.
Hey, can I ask you a dumb question?
No questions are dumb. Only people.
Yeah. You know how you said there's like that return to Israel thing? Okay. Is it true that you can just visit Israel for free?
Yes, that is called birthright.
Who pays for that? The government? Israeli government?
There's a worldwide fund, basically.
Everybody chips in?
That Jews can donate to, yeah.
So if you just wanted to take a trip to Israel...
Well, birthright, so...
Is it just
birthright
to Israel?
Is an age cutoff.
Oh.
You have to go by the time, I believe, you're 26 is the age cutoff. They may have extended it.
Oh, you missed it then.
Oh, I was never going to go.
Why, though? No, wouldn't you want to just...
I mean, to travel for free would have been interesting.
Yeah, but wouldn't you want to go and just see the wall where everybody prays? Like, I feel like going to that holy place where everybody prays and stuff, even though I'm not Jewish, but I feel like...
Well, it's all wrapped up. There's Catholic, well, I should say Christian and Muslim stuff, all mixed up with each other. Like the Dome of the Rock, which is one of the biggest, and I say biggest in terms of most important, not size, but biggest mosques for Islam, which is right next to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, right next to the Wailing Wall.
What I mean is, like, even though I'm not religious, I feel like I have been to certain places that you get a certain feeling that it's almost like a cosmic feeling, like you're somehow connecting to something in the universe that would be so moving. Like I told you, we were watching that documentary about like places, historical places, and in being in Washington and seeing like the wall of all the dead soldiers and stuff like that, I didn't have anybody who died in any of those occurrences, but I wept just to the gravity of the place.
There's
Do you know what I mean?
History.
Yes.
And especially in Israel, where it's one of the oldest settled places.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't you ever want to go there just to connect with sort of your genealogical roots? Wouldn't you think that you might feel something there? Even if you're not like, hey, now I'm super religious, but like, don't you think it would be...
It's possible. I, at the time and still to this day, am not the most mentally equipped to be a good traveler.
With everything, but...
Well, and back then, because you don't go by yourself. It's not just a thing that you do. They're organized trips.
So groups of people go.
So you
In fact,
go
I
with
think
people.
my friend Sherry, I think her niece and nephew went multiple times. I think maybe, if I'm not mistaken. But they're younger.
I can't even remember if my sister did it.
They're younger. I think they might just now be possibly college age. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I think they may have even extended the age a little bit to encourage more people to go.
Yeah, but wouldn't you want to go? Like, no.
I mean, it's...
If somebody said, listen, you can get a free trip to Italy to visit like the town that your ancestors came from, I 100% would jump on that.
Yeah, I'd much rather go to Italy in
that
scenario.
But that's you're not Italian, so you can't go. But like, you know what I mean? So it's not the same draw for you?
That's my explanation into how much the roots matter to me. For as much as I love history,
well, even
my personal connection to it is
okay, but just based on your love of knowledge and history, like you wouldn't want to visit?
I'm much more interested in like Italian history than I am in Palestinian, Israeli, Arab history of that region. Okay. Like, it's so fraught over there, and I think because it was... Are you
scared to go there because of what happens, or...
No. I mean, I know people who have gone, and the way you do the trip is... I mean, you have an armed guard with you. You have people, like, protecting you. Yeah. And they've said, you never feel... like real in danger. Yeah. At the time, it was weird to have so many people with guns just around all the time to protect you, and just being posted and checkpoints and stuff. It's becoming less.
But did the people that that went, did they come back and say that it was like a moving or a major experience for them in their...
Generally, they all come back and they want to have Shabbat dinner like later that week when they come back or whatever. Yeah. And it is, I've seen pictures and videos and things of the place, and it is from just like its climate, its terrain, everything. It's a beautiful place. Yeah. My feelings of it are so conflicted that I wouldn't be able to just go there.
Can I ask another slightly uneducated question about it? With all the strife and bombings and everything that goes on, right? How does like the wailing? How has nobody bombed these holy sites? Like how does that wall, which has been there for... I mean, it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, right?
Well, only because never why it's a wall.
Destroyed?
It's a wall because the temple that it was destroyed.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't understand it because you said it was like the Great Rock. No,
Dome of the Rock is
Dome
the
of the
name
Rock,
of the,
and then
of the
like
mosque.
A Church of the Sepulchre, and then the Wailing Wall, and they're all in sort of the same area. It's to me, I'm not saying this would be terrible, but like, how has nobody gone, you know what, we'll just drop a bomb in the middle of that place, destroy that, and then... The
only thing I can think of is that is the one line.
Are they even like, that's too much?
That's a line,
That's too much.
Yeah,
okay.
I think so, because I think it is, if we go after theirs, they'll come after ours. Yeah. And so if we destroy the wall, there goes the mosque.
Because once that's gone, I mean, that's...
Right.
You can't...
I mean, that's...
You're destroying history. I mean, you're just...
Yeah, I mean, that's thousands of years old, that wall.
Yeah.
And is the only ruin of a once huge temple that was once again destroyed by people coming in trying to persecute the Jews and wipe them out. So...
That's so terrible. That is so terrible.
So yeah, I would much rather... and feel a stronger connection to, just based on my interest of... Right. Italy, England, Japan... a lot of other, or I should just say Great Britain in general, because I would love to go to Scotland too.
Me too. Yeah, I've never been.
At the time, you couldn't have got me to go just based on where I was mentally.
Yeah.
But even today, and take COVID and all that shit out of it, like, just if you offered me a trip, I still would be like, nah, bro. If you offered me the same trip to Israel or to like Namibia, I would go to Namibia.
Oh wow.
Way faster
than
I would go to Israel.
Okay, yeah. Well, Michael, I've learned a lot today.
Yeah.
And
so
sorry
as,
again if I
yeah.
clearly don't mean to be disrespectful in any way, shape, or form, but I don't know much about it, so my questions might seem.
This was obviously not as rambunctious of an episode as the audience is used to.
Yeah.
But if we were going to tell this story, it was a lot of information that had to go with it because the story itself, again, this guy is an extremist, walked into this mosque, mass murdered a bunch of people, and then got beat to death. Like, the story itself, there's not much to it.
Right.
But
it's just everything surrounding it is crazy.
To fully understand the mentality of people like that, to understand the mentality of the Palestinians that have to deal with people like that, to understand the mentality of American Jews seeing stories like that. So there's a lot of stuff wrapped up in it that hopefully people listening, if you're still listening, learned a thing or two and may inform some perspectives going forward.
Let's just all treat each other with respect and kindness and love each other. Can we do that?
Just don't be a dick.
Just don't be a bag of dicks. Yeah. And, hey, speaking of a bag of dicks, if you want to follow us on our socials.
Which, of course, we won't post bags of dicks because we'll get banned from websites.
Not from TikTok, we won't. We'll get millions of followers, but...
if we did bags of tits, then we would be banned.
Well,
but bags of dicks, totally fine.
Women.
Yeah.
But follow us on our socials at mafpodcastshow@gmail.com. Email us at mafpodcastshow. No.
Yeah. Email us at
mafpodcastshow@gmail.com. Follow us on our socials at mafpodcastshow.
Yes.
And check out the YouTube where you can see Michael in all his Bitmoji glory.
Or it's still the video episode is up there, episode 27, the John List episode.
The John List episode, which is wacky.
Sure is. But if you want to see Joanne's reactions in real time, you can check it out. It's on Spotify. It will play video there, but also on the YouTube channel, Murder Amongst Friends Podcast.
Yeah, because if you think I'm flailing around when I say stuff, if you're just picturing that when you're just listening to the audio, you are correct, sirs and madams. I am flailing around. My facial expressions... and my gesticulations, let's put it that way, might make you laugh just because of my stupid face. So,
well, I like your face.
I like your face.
Have I made up for?
You have. Yes.
Okay, good.
Well, yes and no, because yes, with the story.
That wasn't what I was asking.
But no, I'm not going to forget about the fact that you were soliciting other best friends. And with that, we'll see if I have a new co-host next week. Tune in to see who hosts the show with me next week at MAF Podcast Show. Goodbye, everybody. Michael might not be here. Goodbye.
Goodbye for maybe the last time.